Hey, what's going on? My name's Kevin, and in this video, you're going to learn how to get over a breakup in 5 simple steps. Now, as you probably already know, getting over a breakup is really, really hard. In fact, a lot of people consider it to be one of the hardest things that you'll ever have to go through in your entire life, behind losing a loved one. So, just given the nature of what you're feeling right now, unfortunately, there's nothing that I can possibly say or do in this video that will just magically make the pain go away and make everything in your life okay. But what I promise is that if you follow the 5 tips that I share in this video, not only are you going to be able to get over your ex, but you're going to be able to move on with your life even better and stronger than you could have ever imagined. I know that's kind of a big claim, so I'm just going to dive right into it and give you the 5 tips here. So the first tip is to accept that the relationship is over. Now, this is a really hard one for a lot of people because initially, after our ex breaks up with us, we feel a really strong urge to try to get them back. You know, we call them and text them over and over, trying to figure out the reason for leaving, promising them that we can change, trying to prove to them how much we love them, thinking that if they could just understand how much we love and care about them, then they wouldn't leave. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And actually doing that stuff pushes them away even further because it puts a whole lot of pressure, and you pursuing makes them retreat. If you actually want to get your ex back, then you have to draw them in instead of pull them in. So, but that's a whole other thing that I don't even want to talk about because that's actually one of the biggest mistakes that most people make after a breakup is trying to get their ex back. And I know there's tons of videos and ebooks and articles out there on how to get your ex back, promising some sort of magic opening move to get your ex to like fight day and night to get you back. But the thing is, none of that stuff works. Now, that's kind of a harsh stance, but none of that stuff works long term, at least in my experience or the experience of all the people I've worked with. Because the thing is, you guys broke up for a reason. You may not fully understand that reason right now. You may still trying to figure it out. But the thing is, people don't leave people that they love unless there's a really strong reason to make them do it, or an accumulation of lots of different reasons over a long period of time. So chances are, if they're putting themselves through the pain of losing you, which it's bad on them too. You know, you may not realize it, but they're having a hard time as well. They wouldn't put themselves through that unless there was a really strong reason compelling them to face that pain. That means that there was a strong enough pain in the relationship that made them want to leave. So that's why none of that get your ex back stuff works. It's because there's real reasons that you guys broke up, and it doesn't address the core underlying reasons that made the relationship fall apart and fail. Instead, it gives you things to say and do to convince them to give you another shot or to convince them to take you back. But the thing is, once you guys get back together, it's only a matter of time before, those issues come back up again and you guys break up. And that's because it doesn't deal with the core underlying reasons, just the surface level stuff. You can think of it like using a Band-Aid to cover a stab wound. It's gonna treat the bleeding and it'll stop the blood from leaking out for, a couple minutes, but eventually that Band-Aid's not going to be able to hold it together and things are going to come undone and it's going to explode. Well, it's the same thing here. So what I recommend is that you accept that the relationship is over instead of fighting to get them back. I know it's really hard and it's probably the last thing you want to do, but that's kind of what it is, It's over and you have to come to terms with it if you really want to move on with your life. And if you do, then you have to realize that what's done is done and their chapter in your life is over. And now it's time to move on with your life and write the next chapter of yours. So The second tip is to distance yourself from your ex and to cut off contact completely. Now, this one is just as important as accepting that it's over, because you can't truly move on with your life and accept that they're no longer a part of it if you're still keeping them in it. Make sense? I know it kind of sounds like common sense, but it's not common practice. I can't even begin to tell you how many people I've talked to that still keep in touch with their ex, that still call them or text them once in a while just to see how things are, or even worse, they check up on them on Facebook, just to see what they're up to. But of course, you're not doing that, right? No, of course not. Bullshit. No, the thing is, you can't do this stuff. It's going to prevent you from moving on, because you're going to end up keeping tabs on your ex. You're going to be logging in every day to see what they're doing, see what they're posting, see where they've been, see who they're talking to. And aside from it being like straight up creepy and weird, it's going to keep you from moving on with your life because you're too busy checking up on theirs and thinking about what they're doing. And one day, you're going to see a status and you're going to wonder what he means by that, or what she means by that. Or you'll see a picture of them with a new guy or a new girl, and you're going to be like, are they seeing each other, or like, what's going on here? And you're going to drive yourself freaking nuts. And especially if you see a picture of them together, you're going to get that like lightning bolt in your stomach, and you're just going to be like infuriated. Not to mention what'll happen if you actually see a relationship status change, and you're just going to be devastated. So what I recommend is that you cut off contact completely for 30 days, at least 30 days. Because what happens is when we fall in love, there's actually a chemical process going on in your brain. Love is not only an emotional feeling, but there's a chemical reaction in our bodies going on in addition to the emotions. And you can think of it almost like an addiction. And in order to break your love addiction and really move on with your life, you need to get that drug out of your life for at least 30 days. After that, you'll gain some momentum and it's going to be a lot easier, but those 30 days are essential. I recommend 90 days personally, because that's when you really start to get some real results and then you're able to move on. But I wouldn't recommend being friends with your ex until after those first 90 days are over, because the feelings are just too raw. They're still fresh. Just seeing them as a friend is going to be really hard. It's going to remind you of why you love them. It's going to remind you of the fact that they're no longer in your life. It's going to make you feel rejected, unwanted, and it's just going to create way too much complication. So what I recommend is take 90 days apart completely. And at that point, if you feel like, you're truly missing them from your life and it's just not the same without them, and you at least need to keep them around as a friend, then you can initiate a friendship later on, if you guys handle it maturely and end on good terms. But for now, it's just not going to work. So take the time apart, and in that time, do this, which is going to be the third tip: grieve the loss. You really need to come to terms with the loss and what's happening and what you're losing. And this is something that is really uncomfortable to face and deal with because, obviously it doesn't feel good. There's all those emotions bubbling up and, keeping you feeling down. But until you truly face it and embrace it, you're going to let them run your life and control you. So what I recommend is purposefully purging everything you're feeling to really proactively grieve, to set aside, at least half an hour or 60 minutes of time to really sit there and bring up all those emotions, to face all those negative feelings that are kind of driving you nuts, and give yourself the permission to really accept them and to make that be okay. Because what a lot of us do is that they get so powerful and they make us feel so weak and just uncomfortable that we end up pushing them away. We try to avoid it, and then we try to put on, this tough act and pretend that we're fine and everything's okay. Especially guys. We do this one a lot because we have that whole stereotype of men are supposed to be tough and strong and, all that stuff. But the thing is, if these things are trapped inside of you, they will keep you from moving on with your life. And by purging them, you're going to release them, and you're going to create the space for you to actually move on and be okay and get back to your normal, regular, happy self. And until you really face them, they're just going to keep weighing you down. One day you might be feeling good, and the next day, one of those emotions is going to come up, and they're going to pull you down. So the whole point of this is to grieve intentionally, to purposefully purge everything, and to get it out of your system. It's literally going to be like emotionally freeing. You're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel better, and it's literally one of the most powerful things you can do. Literally force yourself to cry if you have to. Like look at pictures of you guys when you were together. Look at movies you used to watch or songs you used to play that remind you of them. Like truly feel the loss and be okay with it. Okay? So tip number 4 is to focus on yourself. See, it's okay to think about your ex, to check up on them and all that in the beginning. It's fine. It's what we do. We're literally experiencing a state of shock and panic. So we can't help but do those things. But a certain point in your life comes and it's just time to move on. You have to accept that it's over and you can't let this just keep running your life. And at that point, you have to turn inwards and focus on yourself again. You have to focus on the things that make you happy and do the things that you've always wanted to do. What I personally recommend, which was a really huge game changer for me, was, like what I'm about to share literally changed my life. So I really want to stress the importance of it, is to use losing your ex as an opportunity to find yourself. Take the time to get to know yourself and really focus on the things that make you happy. Do the things you love to do. Explore your interests, pursue your passions, and really take back control of your life and start to move on and be happy again. Put on a positive attitude and, do all those things that you've always wanted to do, but you were too busy for or didn't have time for or all that. Ask yourself questions like, where do I want to go from here? What do I really value? What's important to me? What do I want to do with my life? What's my purpose in life? What's the meaning of existence? What is this all about? And use this time as a process of self-discovery, because you've literally just been given the gift of getting to know yourself very intimately and figure out who you are without your ex. Because what happens in relationships is we get really close to who we love. It's almost like a part of us gets attached to their self, and it gets kind of co-entangled and commingled, and they influence you. I'm sure you've noticed how, like, when you're around your friends, you start saying the same things as them and doing the same things, and that's how it is in a relationship. They fundamentally change you for better or for worse. And now that you guys broke up, you have a chance to reclaim your life and make whatever you want to make out of yourself and your life. It's pretty empowering if you think about it, because chances are you spent all your time with your ex, or at least a majority of it, and you maybe brushed off some of your friends or your family in order to spend more time with your significant other. Or maybe you spent less time on your hobbies, or put something off to the side, like working out, or a sport or an instrument, or whatever it is for you. Well, now you have the extra time on your hands for you to use however you want. It's actually a blessing if you choose to view it that way. So that's what I personally recommend. I recommend that you see this as a good thing and as an opportunity to really become a better person and to be happy, to find your happiness from within, so that you can be happy on your own, with or without your ex, to have this solid base of happiness so deeply embedded in you that you know that you're going to be okay no matter what happens. That's powerful, and that makes you that much more strong and mature and independent. so that when you do get into another relationship, you're never going to feel like the way you're feeling right now, because you have this base feeling of happiness and well-being internally that no one can take from you and that no one can shake. It's amazing. I really recommend it. And then the fifth tip is to learn from the experience. Everything in life, whether good or bad, is a learning experience. There's always something for you to learn and to take away. And a lot of people, they fail to do this because they're too busy kind of like pointing their finger at their ex or playing the blame game and making it out to be all their fault, and then going over their friends and then like bitching about, oh, like she's such a bitch or he's such an asshole. He was a jerk. He treated me this way and that. Okay, I get it. It's natural to do that, but at some point you have to take responsibility and realize that the breakup happened for a reason. There's a reason they left you. There's a reason it didn't work out. And part of that reason is you. In a relationship, it takes two to tango. And to say that it was all your ex's fault is just not true, no matter how convenient it is. It's actually going to hurt you in the long run if you do this. So listen up. You will literally repeat the same mistakes and recreate the same problems unless you reflect on what happened and you learn from it now. You can change the external circumstances and replace partners your entire life, but until you turn inwards and look at yourself and kind of see what it is that you were doing that either pushed them away, that made them unhappy with you, you're just going to keep doing that with every single partner, and then you're going to keep coming back to square one, wondering why they left and why it failed. So please don't do that. Reflect on what happened, turn inwards, take responsibility, learn your lesson, and use that to become even better and stronger. The amount of self-awareness that you can get out of this is just incredible. It'll make all your future relationships better, and it's gonna make you a stronger person. And it's totally going to contribute to number 4, which was to focus on yourself. This is kind of like an extension of that. And that's really what's at the heart of this whole process. To really turn inwards and to reflect on what happened, to learn from it, and to grow and become a better person. That's how you make the most out of unfortunate circumstances, tragedies, loss, whatever it is. If you can take a lesson away from it, if you can learn about yourself, if you can improve your life as a result of what happened, then that experience becomes integrated into your life as a positive experience, because it was almost like a stepping stone to something better and greater. And if you're able to use this breakup to do that for yourself, then it's going to make the loss worth it, because had it never have happened, then you wouldn't have learned this and that. You would have never taken back control of your life. You would have never made such a strong commitment to find your happiness from within, to take control of your life, to be in a place where you can truly be okay internally, no matter what happens, to be at peace with yourself and to be happy. And that's really the greatest gift that you can ever learn or create for yourself. So use this as an opportunity to do that. Read tons of books, kind of fill your mind with positive information, anything that's inspiring and motivating, and really use this as a stepping stone to a much better future. And if you want more advice on how to get over your ex, I've actually written a book called The Ultimate Guide on How to Get Over a Breakup, which shares literally a proven step-by-step formula for getting over a breakup. And some of the things actually shared in this video are tips from my book, but that takes it into much greater depth and gives you like strategies and techniques that you can put to use right away to feel better. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I really recommend it. If you signed up for my newsletter, you're actually going to get a free chapter from the book, which I really recommend reading. It's phenomenal. And I also created a special program called the Breakthrough Breakup Program. And this actually includes a copy of my book, along with a ton of other special bonuses, and even a chance to talk to me one-on-one and get my personal advice on your situation. And I can't even tell you some of the amazing videos that I've received from people thanking me for the book and the program and how much that session has impacted their life. But yeah, just click that button underneath this video. There should be a button that's one for men and one for women. And you can check out some more great breakup advice. There's tons of cool videos on there. But yeah, I mean, I really hope this video has helped you. I've really poured my heart and soul into this. I do this because I genuinely care and I really want to help. So I really hope this video has helped, and I hope that I've contributed to your life in some meaningful way and acted as at least a catalyst to that better future that I spoke about. So once again, my name is Kevin. It's been my honor to really serve you and to put this information out there in front of you. And I hope you use it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.